besides the campaigns, political parties have had deliberate attempts made to be able to bring in citizens and residents of the various counties into tables of conversations, either through town hall meetings or sector working groups, meetings with different groupings to be able to pick up their concerns.
Yeah.
My biggest worry, however, has been the lack of accountability at two levels. That one, if you look at what is being promised today, there has not been a clear analysis of what was promised in 2013, moving on to 2017, and what was done, which in my view is a VDS responsibility, Vision 2030 Delivery Secretariat, to be able to guide the nation in terms of you are either over-concentrating on infrastructure and you're messing up or not doing a lot in terms of industrialization, because that was really the broader vision, to transform Kenya into a highly industrialized middle-income country that takes care of its people through a clean service delivery mechanism and clean environments. You know, that's really the broader vision. But if you look at the cleanliness in terms of how we are adjudicating and implementing the different manifestos, there is no clear mechanism to therefore look at what we are doing. So you walk through these counties, Trevor, and you are faced with very many white elephants. Projects that were begun either by local governments before devolution came into the fore, post-2010 constitution, and you ask, nani alianzisha hii dam? You'll be told, ni councillor wetu, how many years ago, who died, and it was supposed to be passed. We know the amount of monies that were put in these dams, and that just is washed over like that.
Yeah.
You move on to aspects that therefore have to do with public participation, you know, where then citizens are also supposed to go through the resource mechanisms. How much budgets do county governments, county assemblies appropriate for these resources? There's a lackluster and very non-committal engagement in terms of, yes, we have put these hundreds of millions and we'll ensure that citizen voices count, and we know that the former governor, for example, had budgeted for this school, and so we are going to enhance, you know, what was not left, and we know that this amount of money was put into it. My government will therefore be able to do this. Instead, what we see happening in counties is people are being told, you didn't vote for me. So you wait for my turn to end, and then maybe when the person that started this comes back, of which I'll assure you they'll not come back, and that's the kind of tonation in language that is going on in counties. You know, so we have lots of projects, Trevor, that are within the framework of Kenya Vision 2030 that have been started, they've been budgeted for, but there is never a commitment to be able to ensure that they are completed, and that even the committees and teams, because governors and all these leaders, when they come into place, of course, they'll appoint their friends into some of these committees. And so the people who are then in the previous committees have a very minimal chance in terms of coming forward. But I remember ahead of 2013 elections, while I worked with one of the premier youth organizations in Kenya, we visited the former 8 regions. So we were putting together young people in 100 groups of the 8. So a total of about 800 people. And we were doing what we were calling the Vision 2030 from a youth perspective.
Yeah.
If you do an analysis, because we have done, of what recommendations the youth had then, and what kind of milestones that government has been able to ensure, particularly from a youth perspective. A lot of work has been done. Youth Enterprise Development Fund, of course, there are issues around its requirements, accessibility, and all the concerns that young people have. But at a much more higher level, the questions around accountability are wanting. Our value system is highly questionable, because even most of the projects revolve around corruption, and there are big monies, mega corruption scandals, Trevor, that are never sorted out. So the politics around corruption and the politicization of corruption therefore affects, in my view, even the 8 years that are remaining for Vision 2030. And we can give you many examples, because we have done a little bit engagement with citizens. We have visited areas where projects were begun, and people just don't think that they need to be budgeted for again, from roads to water projects to health facilities. Even the fact that there is over-reliance in physical infrastructure, you know, things that you see like a building or a road. But there are health facilities that you walk into and there are no drugs. Instead,
it's there, but
it's there, but there's nothing inside. From human resource perspectives or elements to the availability of drugs, consumables. So doctors and clients have a conversation around, ukivuka hii barabara, kuna chemist pale. hatuna hiyo dawa hapa lakini iko pale. Why should those things be happening, particularly when health, for example, is fully devolved and we have lots of monies going to the county governments for some of these services? To water concerns, why are women in 2022 having to go to Tana River? The river is just there. Why can't we have strong mechanisms on how we can be able to reform and transform that water to get into people's homes? So women actually kicking jerrycans over 7 kilometers, you know, with their legs and carrying kids. And this is vision 8 years into our vision. The promise is real, Trevor, but I think there is much more higher commitment, particularly from the political class.